don't want to throw
No,
them out,
I
but
didn't.
sometimes we got to throw those little cheap ones out. So,
Yeah, I know, but I'm patient. I'm patient.
but I really had all intentions of not
I
being.
know, I know, I know. But like I
So
said, I got to bust your balls a little bit, just so. But
I'll let
anyway,
you. I'll let you.
yeah, she let me slide. Yeah, she let me slide, folks. Yeah. So anyway, but guys, her information in the description. You want to check her out. And this is I'm gonna tell you weirdos out here. This is a beautiful lady. She took time for me to talk with me. Do not do this. I will find you. I will be like Neil Newson. I have a tickle set of steals. Do not send her the pics. Not a one. If I find out who you are, you know, I'm gonna use my skills on you. This woman, like my man the Joker would say, this woman is particularly beautiful. She completes me. And it's rare when I find someone that completes me. Just so excited. I'm sorry, I had to pull that guy out here so often. He's that
And
guy,
he's back.
man.
And he's
Yeah, I'm glad I'm back. And what was that experience being at your first Olympia? You know what I mean, rubbing shoulders with people like Andrew Shaw. I know, one person we met together a while back. You met with Shana Boswell. You met us some time ago. I met her this summer. People like most definitely Margie V. Martin, who just ended her career, great legend in the sport. Helen Trevino, Irie Anderson, who also met at a show that you both, because last year you did the Savannah Pro, and that was my first bodybuilding show. I'm gonna show you a picture. Wait, excuse me, folks. I don't know what happened. I'll show a picture real quick from that show, which she did, and I think it's a picture from her. This is from her IG, and that was your debut in bodybuilding. And
yeah.
what was your feeling and thought at that show?
Well, first of all, it was just an amazing experience to be competing at, Queen Linda Murray's show. I
Hmm.
look up to her so much. So it was great to be at her show. And I did make a lot of good connections last year. I did meet Rashana last year. Uh, I met, uh, excuse me, um, Donna last year, Salib. And women like them were so amazing and so welcoming. They made my experience just an amazing, just a great time. There are other ladies that I met there as well that I've kept in touch with that I am really grateful for as
Yes,
well.
yes.
But it was a learning experience for me,
Hmm.
right? Last year I didn't even place. And, you know, I can chalk it off to being a learning experience that I hadn't done anything before like that on that level. I had taken 2 years off from getting my pro card. And then in the beginning of that year, I lost my dad to COVID.
I'm sorry.
So, so 2021 was just a very tough year for me. Um, and actually making my debut was something to just kind of like get myself a little bit out of it because it took a toll on me significantly because he was my number one fan. My dad and I were really close. So there was just a lot going on. But again, it was a learning experience because it was my first show. And a bit about me, I really haven't been at this sport a very long time at all. I only did one amateur show in 2018, and then I did two national shows and got my pro card. And then, like I said, I took 2020 off, and then 2021 is when I made my debut. So fast forward, I really, all in all, going back to how I feel after this Olympia, that was my sixth show ever, ever. So for me, of course, it's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of growing, and it's also going to be a lot of joy, gratitude, and like, I don't know, I can't explain it, but I do. I take a bit of pride in what I've been able to accomplish in the amount of time that I've been competing. And I'm far from done. I'm far from learning and growing. And it's really been a blessing, the people that have been placed in my life in the last few years to help. get me to this point. I've had Chris Cormier at one point. He helped me before I went to nationals at North Americans and got my pro card. Melvin Anthony, the great Melvin Anthony. I had him as my posing coach last before I got my before I made my pro debut, and he helped me with some guest posing last summer. And then this year, I had Hella Trevino as my posing coach. So I've been very, very fortunate to have some amazing, and those are just three of the names that I've been blessed to learn under and grow from on this journey that I've been on. And so, yeah, I and then to be on stage with her was just super amazing. I
Yeah,
mean, just to see her in action, you know, it's one thing to, the back and forth we'd have in our video chats, and I've watched her and studied her posing, but to see it like in real time and to be right there, oh my gosh,
I,
it was the best feeling. It was so cool.
I tell you, like one point where you said about your father, my mother, she had got the COVID. My mother, she had she was really, right about 2014, she had her first seizure, and had seizures, a series of seizures after that, and a stroke. I took care of her for at least about 5 years, and then last year it was 2020 when she got it, and then she passed away. I feel you about that part because my father. I wasn't that close to my father, but my mother, she was the center of my life. She was the woman that raised us kids because she had to raise 6 kids, 2 grandkids, 3 grandkids sometimes, even up to when she was about in her 70s. When she was already raising my brother's youngest son who had autism, and I can feel you when you lose someone like that because my mother was my woman. And now she's gone. I'm a bachelor, and just it's tough. But talking about people like Chris Camille, I remember Chris Camille back to the day. Remember the movie John Q, where the little boy says, "Chris Camille, look, Chris Camille, darling." Helen Trevino, I used to talk back and forth with her on social media, and then when we weren't sure we was going to compete, because I got a partner, we do a live stream together called Muscle Talk Mondays. He went to the New York show, he saw her there, and she kind of slipped, saying she might compete, but we weren't certain because it was just big up in the air. And you mentioned Dollar Salib. I got to meet her at Savannah also this past month. Also, Sheena Oleg, Anna Rivicchio. I met Alita Popa, a couple of ladies there too. One lady I met there on my channel, whose name I do not speak of her name because particularly, she's wrapped up in a lot of mess, so I don't speak of her. But this to be able to rub shoulders with people like this, legends, up and comers, that's great. I mean, that's a great experience. A man, Lawrence Perkins, is saying is also, art, activity, religion. You already said that. Righteous talent. Yeah, you already said that. Also, my man, Brooke Burrell, you are my George. You always have these beautiful queens on your show. Thank you, brother. Also, Shauna Miller says Danielle kind of reminds me of Laura Cray Valley. That's one of my favorites back in the day. Laura
That's a
Cray Valley,
compliment.
yeah,
Thank
that's a
you.
great compliment. I mean, Laura was just wow. She's just very exotic looking, very beautiful. I mean, great
Yes,
physique. Yeah,
I study the greats. Yes, that's a
yeah, yeah.
compliment.
Brooks also says
Mariah Carey.
you're my hero, bro. Always
I
beautiful
got I
women.
got Mariah Carey from one of my yearbook photos in high school, so that's kind of funny that somebody said Mariah Carey.
You should do a video where you singing all you want to do for Christmas like that. That people guys will
Oh
love it.
yeah, from that
Yeah,
era,
yeah.
her era and stuff when she had the curly hair and
Yeah,
stuff, like the
yeah,
early 90s.
yeah,
Yeah, I know. It's funny. I've been
yeah,
watching
yeah,
it before
yeah.
back.
That'd be some. Hey, guys, yeah, the Smos will love it. We like I said, we just like I said, something about you ladies, especially. We're just. I think we're not just a fan of just your bodies. We're a fan of your passion for the sport. And as I talk about my channel, this sport is a difficult sport. As I said again, the mental factor, the physical factor, the expense of it. As people are talking, it's more of a hobby sport. But as an athlete, do you believe personally in yourself, you should get more benefits out of the sport than just the person work you put into it? You should get more out of it.
Oh, I believe that definitely there's a disparity as there are in most industries. Um, and what it takes to put on the final package, it definitely needs to be. I think there needs to be more. I don't necessarily. I don't want to say if it necessarily negate or translates to monetary, although that is nice. But I think just more. I, I believe that when you get to that level and you have such a coveted position, that there needs to be more avenues and things for you. And I can see that they're getting better with it, but I still feel that we have a ways to go.
Hmm. That's true because, like I said, I know Margie. She put out a thing where she talked about how Tampa, how where Chelsea won, she got like $2,000. It was about 3 4 years ago. It was $5,000. Then you look over here, like Heidi Chopin. He walks away with $400,000. With Iris, that's with where Andrea and Natalia walks away with like 50,000, 50, $40,000. Where which come on, even though that Andrea she wins another 50K and a car over at the Rising Phoenix. Still it's not it's comparison to what the guys get.
Right, right. And definitely she and anyone who is in that position deserves more.
Hmm. Also, you were before you got into bodybuilding, like you said, you kind of started a little bit late in this career. You also were a dancer, and and that we'll show some pictures right here, right here. She was a dancer. We post right here, and that's that's good. You bring in that you do have this talented
I
background,
still am a dancer.
hmm
And
and
I'm a dance teacher. So
uh yeah, it's just, got some pretty good moves, shake it, I mean, I can't dance. I'm a big man. I do the big man shuffle. We just move our shoulders. Me and my older brother.
so
That's how. Yeah, that's how me and my older brother were. We did a big man dance where we just all we do is just we just do this move. We just like moving our shoulders like this, and we shuffle our feet a little bit. We couldn't dance. My youngest nephew, that brother can cut. He can cut a move, backflip, shit like that. I couldn't do it, and now even though he can still do it because he's a little older now, but he still can do it. My man here, you know, uh, Lawrence Perkins, saying, "Keep on inspiring others around the world, Danielle, and many more blessings to come on your journey." Shout out to man Lawrence Perkins. Also, Brooke says, "God bless you, Queen." He's a fan. Also, Lawrence says, "You nearly on the stage as well. You're very beautiful as well." And Sean McMillan says he agrees. And also, I mean, we got a new here, Freddie B. Looking good, Danielle. Appreciate you, Freddie B. And here we got one guy here. I don't know. I want to show this one. But he comes in here. He supports my channel. This is my man, Balls Deep, sexy as AF, and also he says and swole. So I don't know, talking about him or you, but appreciate it, brother. But yeah, it's just the opportunity to come up there because even though you didn't get into the top 10, you were like in the middle of the 16th because one person that was surprised to get that low was Rashana. I mean that was like a shocker to me.
yeah, well, I I just like I said, you go in and you want to place well. I mean, you don't prepare for any show. I don't, in my mind, wanting to do less than your best, right? Um, but at the same time, I know I haven't been around that long, and I need to just continue just showing up more.
Hmm.
That's all. And my best is still to come. I'm not rushing it, and that's been my kind of like mode of operandi this whole time. Anyway, my goal usually is to only do like one show a year, you know, and I kind of want to stick to that whole maybe 1 to 2 shows now that I'm on this level a year. And so, like, I've decided that I'm going to take a nice long off season and I'm still going to train hard, but I'm not planning on doing a show next year. This will give me the time that I need to really make my necessary changes, do things in a healthy way, the way I want to. Um, like I said, preserving femininity is number one for me
Hmm.
at
Yeah,
the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the big thing about the sport. I know, like, when I do content about, like, especially women's physique division, I often say I don't want to go to bodybuilding because I lose my femininity. But I'm looking at people like you and Rashana and Sheena, and also a lot of the ladies who have become friends with. We both know Jada Beverly. I mean, there are some beautiful women in this sport. And I do content on it. Like, I do a thing called comparison moves. I call a thing called sex appeal. I even talk about you because you are sexy, you're beautiful, you have great physique. And yeah, it's a tough thing about, like, I know, a lot of people say I want to stay busy, I want to stay competitive. Like the new Miss Olympia physique, Natalia, she was doing like 4 or 5 shows after Olympia. I have heard some people say, you know what, I wouldn't do that many shows, because especially you already get your qualification. You should just sit back, relax, and Joe. But I think that was the reason why she did so well, because I watched some of the videos. I saw Sarah. Sarah looked good, but she was just a slight off at some points. And it's just that thing is you have to put in that hard work. I think some say that if you stay active as athlete, that does help you out a little bit. We got a man here, Balls Deep, says, as y'all feel like to say, Chicago's in here. He's also said, smash that like button. And he says, what up to the chat. Also, a man, Lawrence Perkins, is dropping, saying, my condolences to you and your family. He always alive in your spirit and heart and soul and dreams. And, condolences to your family. And like one thing, when you started, and you told your parents, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to be a bodybuilder. What was there? What was the first thing that came out of their mind or their mouth? Or what they said? What they supportive would say? Oh, sweetheart, you're too beautiful. That's such a you gotta have a chin like who has that big, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, or you can look like Lou Ferrigno. I don't want my baby to be like that.
It was for them. They knew that I was passionate about fitness because I'd been kind of at it. I started training off and on in 2015. So they saw that my lifestyle had changed. Me being a dancer my whole life and being competitive, they were like, "Oh, okay, this. I guess this makes sense." But of course, my dad at one point was, like, I don't want you to to get a little too crazy. I don't want you to be, walking around, like me having to call you Dan and